Well, Albanese or Dutton? Who won last night's leaders' debate on the ABC? Both had moments of victory and defeat. But for me, as I said earlier, the real crux of the debate was energy. And I think that should have been the focus today from the media. But it wasn't, and that's fine. Negative gearing is important. But here was Anthony Albanese's ducking and weaving. And I want to play it again because it's the same nothing to see here style response to what is a pretty straightforward question. When will power bills start to fall?
Our plan, we know that renewables are the cheapest form of power, and that is why we are doing that, rolling it out, including through gas. Peter raised gas. Gas is now $13. It was $30.
And when does it get cheaper?
When we came off, 13 is cheaper than 30.
When do we see the bills come down?
Well, what we need to do is to roll out renewables, make sure there's energy security, make sure it's backed up by batteries, by hydro and by gas.
Joining me now is National Senator Matt Canavan. Good to see you, Matt. Thank you so much for joining me. Look, here we go again and again. Albo fails to prosecute the case for his fanciful renewables-only fantasy. And who is he kidding here? How many more times can he lie about the fact that our bills have gone in the other direction?
Well, look, I think the Australian people have realised that they can't trust the word of Anthony Albanese. He did promise almost 100 times to cut your power bills by $275 in his first term, and now he won't even say whether your bills are going to go up, down or sideways. Obviously, given his promises 3 years ago and given him saying that renewables are the cheapest form of power, the question must be asked is why won't he be able to say they go down? I mean, if renewable energy is so cheap, why can't he commit that by building more of it as he wants to, your power bills will go down? And this conundrum at the centre of Anthony Albanese's re-election campaign really goes to the heart of why his government has been struggling the last few years. As you say, I think cost of living, energy, it's the only game in town. That's what everybody basically talks to you on the street. Whether I'm here in Longreach in Western Queensland, people talk about that, or even inner city seats in Brisbane and Sydney, they talk about the cost of living. Everybody in this country is struggling because this government has failed to deliver on their promises, failed to deliver lower energy prices, and those high energy costs are flowing through to the cost of everything, including ultimately our interest rates, because if we don't look after inflation, interest rates go up too.
Yeah, absolutely. It is the conversation of the election campaign. You know, we've got reporters out there every day asking, what are you most concerned about? And it's always cost of living and it's always power bills. I mean, they are the key issues of this campaign, and the messaging needs to be there. Matt, the opposition leader was forced to apologise last night over this Russian base saga. Here is what he said.
You said the Indonesian president had publicly announced this Russian request when he had not. So was that a mistake?
It was a mistake, and I'm happy to admit that what we got from the Indonesian authorities in the reports, and the Prime Minister commented on these reports yesterday as well, was that the sources inside the Prabowo government confirmed that was the case.
Look, Matt, I still think that Peter Dutton was right to be strong on this from the beginning. I mean, if there is indeed a threat to our national security, then we need to be able to respond accordingly. But what is your thoughts on how Peter Dutton dealt with those developments?
Well, Peter can accept the truth, and there are a lot of reports going around. Some of those reports proved to be mistaken yesterday. But what is much worse is the minimisation of the risk to this country of the current government in their attempt to throw shade at the opposition leader. I mean, what we do know here is that Russia and Indonesia have been growing close together. It seems strange to me that the Prime Minister, hasn't been able to admit that, well, Indonesia just a couple of months ago joined the BRICS coalition. That's the Brazil, Russia, India, China and South Africa coalition, which is generally seen to be aligned against US interests. A month later, we now have these reports, or we have reports that a month later, Russia was asking to base military aircraft just 1,400 kilometres north of Darwin. And so clearly there are some issues here developing to our north. And the bigger issue for our country is it's hard to see how the Albanese government has in any way responded to that higher threat. Or changed geopolitical environment. They've cut defence spending. They haven't proceeded with the purchase of Joint Strike Fighter aircraft, and they've actually sat by idly and let Indonesia steal our major key critical minerals issues. I mean, another promise that Anthony Albanese has made on top of his broken promise on energy was to kickstart critical minerals in this country. Well, under his watch, we've lost our entire nickel industry, one of the key critical minerals in electric car batteries, lots of other technologies. We've lost almost our whole nickel industry because we've been sitting back while Indonesia builds coal-fired power stations with Chinese finance, and Anthony Albanese consigns our industry or handcuffs them to a green agenda which increases their costs, and we've lost the market share, lost 3,000 jobs in our country. That should be the focus of the government. That to me is a much bigger issue over this saga this week. It's not what whoever says here and there over 24 hours. It's how we respond to this changed geopolitical environment over the years ahead. And I don't think the current government has proven that it's got a strong hand, a strong focus on that for the security of our nation.
No, I completely agree with you. I mean, look what happened when the Chinese warships were conducting live fire drills off the coast of our country, a couple of weeks ago. There was this strange back and forth between Penny Wong, Richard Marles and Anthony Albanese, and nobody actually knew what was going on when it's a matter of national security. It's the same old saga each time. Matt Canavan, good to catch up with you. Thank you so much for joining me on the show this evening.